Welcome back to a new video. My name is Kian de Jong and this is KG Technic. In this video I will be talking about set number 42043, the Mercedes-Benz Arocs 3245. This set was released in 2015. It contains 2793 parts. It weighs about 4513 grams and the dimensions of the box are 57.5 by 47.5 by 12.5 centimeters. This is a second-hand set, so the bags are already opened, but the set also contains one booklet and one sticker sheet. In the first part we started working on the frame of the set. In the front we have some gears, and if we look at the bottom you can see some axles and universal joints, and those are connected to the gears in the front. So when we turn the gears, the axle will also start to turn. On the opposite side we have some more gears that are connected to the axles, and those connect to the pistons of the engine blocks. This means that when we turn the gears on the opposite side, the pistons inside the engine blocks will also start to move. Besides that, if we look inside the frame, you can also see that we added the first and only motor of this set. This is a L-sized motor, and this one will be used to control all the functions of this set. There are also a lot of open connection points, and these will probably be used in some of the next phases of the build. In the second phase we started working on the wheel hubs in the front. Both sets of wheel hubs have suspension, and you can see the yellow springs. These are the stronger version of the springs, and you can see that by looking at the metal spring. So if you look closely you can see that in the middle the spring has some more windings. In the middle of the sets of wheel hubs you will notice a yellow part, and this one is connected through some bevel gears that transfer the motion of the axles 90 degrees, and they are connected to some axles on top. And you can see that when we turn the axle on top, the yellow part will start to move, and that one connects to both sets of wheel hubs to make the steering happen. In the third section we added another assembly on top of the frame, and this one also has some lights on them. In the lights there are some axles, and if we look at the back of the assembly you can see some gears, and these link the two lights together, and the lights will be used to control the steering of the set, which I think is pretty clever. If we look at the back of the assembly you will be able to see a lot of gears, and this is the gearbox. The gearbox has some selectors on both ends, and these will be used to switch between the functions. The gearbox is also connected to the motor in the middle of the frame, and we have some arms that can extend with some worm gears on the end to lower the feet. You may notice that there is a sticker missing on the feet, and this is because this is a second-hand set. The sticker sheet was included, but the stickers were too old and they have lost their stickiness, which is a shame, but there's nothing much we can do about it right now. Besides that, we also added a pump on the underside of the set, and this one will be used to control the pneumatic functions of the set. The pump is connected to a gear that will start to turn and compress and decompress the pump to create air pressure. In the next part we started working on a separate assembly. This one will be for the back. We have some loose pieces on the bottom, and these will probably connect to the wheel hubs at the back. We also have some springs. These are in light gray and are also not connected yet, but will also be connected to the wheel hubs later. If we look at the top of the assembly, you will be able to see a linear actuator in the middle, and this one is connected through some gears on one side of the assembly. And when we start turning the gear, you can see the linear actuator extending and the platform rising, and the platform will be connected to a container later on in the build. In the next phase we've connected both assemblies together, and we also made the wheel hubs at the back. Besides that we also connected all the wheels, and all the wheels have suspension in the front and in the back. We also added the mudguards on top by using some black Technic frame pieces, And we have some yellow system parts, and these are supposed to represent some chocks, and in real life these are supposed to prevent the wheels from moving. On the bottom you can see some differentials that are connected to the wheel hubs at the back, and they are connected with some axles, and the motion goes to the front where the engine block is, and when we start turning the wheels you will be able to see that the pistons inside the engine blocks will also start to move. Continuing, we started working on another separate assembly. This will be the arm of the set. And on the underside of the arm, you can already see a whole lot of hoses. These are for the pneumatic functions, and it's pretty packed under there. When you turn the arm, you can already feel all the resistance of the hoses. And on the side of the arm, we have some stickers. These were already applied, so these do stick. And we have 4 functions in total, 2 on each side. The functions can be controlled by using the switches on the side, and they control the way the air pressure flows. You can already see some of the pistons that will be used for the pneumatic functions. We have 2 in place, so the other pistons will probably be added in some of the next sections. So now we have connected all the assemblies together. The set is already getting a little bit higher because of the arm, so now I will turn the camera up a little bit. And we have connected 2 more sections to the arm, one that can extend the arm and one for the bucket. We also added the battery box in the front. It sits between the headlights and slides in place and held in place by some other pieces. You will need to remove the cable to remove the battery box from the assembly and change the batteries. The full arm is now in place and has a whole lot of motion to it, but it can only turn left to right and not a full rotation because of the hoses in the middle. In the next part, we started working on the front. We've added the headlights and the grille. There's also a number plate, but you may notice that there are no numbers. That's because the stickers are not able to be applied. We also have some slopes, which are pretty interesting. And on the sides of the front, we also added some stairs for the driver. Now, if we look at the back of the set, you will be able to see that we also added the braking lights and another number plate. We also added a part for a hook for a trailer, but that one is not included in this set. Now the set is almost finished, and in this phase we added the cabin to the front. There is a printed Mercedes logo piece in the front, in the middle, and what I find pretty interesting are the mirrors, because on the left side we have one normal mirror, but on the right side we have multiple mirrors, and this is so the driver can better see the full right side of the truck. We can also lift up the cabin to reveal the engine block, and this is achieved by using some clever linkage techniques. If we close the cabin again and look at the front, I find the way the grille is made pretty interesting, and that's because I found some scratch marks on the pieces that were used. This is a second-hand set, so that's the reason why. But it's interesting because normally Lego goes out of their way to prevent pieces from damaging themselves inside these sets. Now, before we go to the final result of this set, here's the parts list for anyone who's interested. Alright, the set is finished, and in the last section we added the container at the back. Now for the functions of this set. First of all, we can open the cabin, and if we look inside you can see that there is the engine block with the pistons. And when we start to turn the differentials of the tires in the back, the pistons will start to move. We have some selectors at the sides to select between the functions. First of all, we have the feet that can extend. The feet can be lowered by using the worm gear at the end, but this will need to be done manually. The direction of the functions is controlled by using the battery box itself by putting the switch in the other direction, and the motor will turn also in the other direction because of that. The second function is the arm that can rotate. On the opposite side of the vehicle we also have a selector for 2 more functions. First we have the container that can be raised and lowered again. The container also has a opening section at the end, but I forgot to film that part. Now for the last selection, we have the control for the arm. This is done by pneumatic functions, and the selector turns on a pump. We can raise and lower the arm. We have some extension, and we have a longer piston that can extend the last section of the arm. The pneumatic functions are a little bit slower because the piston needs to create the air pressure for the pistons to extend and also be compressed. But here you can see the extension of the last part of the arm, and for the last function we have the bucket that can open and close. Those are all the functions of this set, and with that the set is complete. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!